Good morning, everyone. This morning I'm going to give my testimony. Growing up, you can say I was an every now and then churchgoer. My mother would tell us about God and would read Bible stories to us at a young age. She would try to have my 4 siblings and I ready to leave for church every Sunday, but many times we wouldn't go because Dad didn't want to go. And so many of the siblings would say, if Dad's not going, why do we have to go? So at the last minute, Mom would say, fine, we're not going. We really never knew what weekend we would be in church. We did have Bible studies with neighbors. After fighting so much to try to get everyone in church, Mom just stopped trying for years. I knew about God at an early age, but never had a personal relationship with Him. I had heard that how you needed to be baptized to be saved, and I thought about that a lot as a teenager. When I graduated high school and was living away from family, I was reading the Bible at times, but stopped because I was living too much for the world. I had a very serious gambling problem for about 35 years. My grandfather taught me how to play poker at the age of 5, and I was instantly hooked. At first, we would just play for pennies, but for a 5-year-old, a pocket full of pennies seemed like lots of money. As I became older, we played for more money. The older we got, the more money we played for. I didn't drink or do drugs or smoke, so I didn't think I was doing anything wrong or hurting anyone. It sure hurt my wallet, though. After maxing a lot of credit cards, it was really hurting my wallet. I was gambling any way possible, betting on sports games, lottery tickets, going to casinos, just anything. I did not have my driver's license yet because I had seizure for so many years. So I took many bus trips to cities in Nevada, Las Vegas, Reno, Laughlin. I was so addicted to gambling that I would even ride my bicycle to an Indian casino 28 miles from where I lived in the middle of summer in 100-degree weather. I kept telling myself throughout all I was doing, I needed to get baptized so I can be saved. I thought that's all I needed to do. It's like having fire insurance. I did get baptized, but that didn't change my behavior or my way of living. I was still living worldly. When I would travel to Nevada on my gambling trips, I would not open the drawers in the hotel rooms because I knew in one of those drawers there was a Bible, and I did not want to feel convicted. Throughout all of this, I knew I needed to get back into church, but at the same time, I would think that I was too messed up for God to love me. I kept asking myself, what if I died tomorrow without having a relationship with Jesus? My mother kept telling me I needed to get back into church, but I kept putting it off. Since I was not doing anything about it on my own, God brought Heather into my life. I was living in a 5-bedroom house for years where the owner rented out rooms to people. One day Heather knocks at the door and she said she was interested in renting one of the rooms. So she moves into the house. My first reaction about Heather was, This girl talks way too much. Does she ever stop talking? But we did have a lot of conversations, and she would tell me that she went to church with the Salvation Army. Can you guess what my first question was? Does the Salvation Army have a church? Every Sunday, she would invite me to go, but I always had an excuse not to go, and would say maybe another time. During different conversations we would have, she had mentioned that if she ever got married, her husband would have to be a Christian. After knowing each other for about 2 years, we started dating. Then the thought really hit me. If I wanted to keep dating her, I would have to get back into church. No more excuses. God used Heather to get me back in church, and I never stopped thanking him. Who knows where or what I would be today if it wasn't for God bringing Heather into my life. So I started going to church again, but I still had my gambling addiction. One day I told Heather, I don't think I could ever become a soldier because I couldn't give up gambling. Her response to that was, what if God convicts you? And just left it at that. I replied, if that happens, we'll deal with that then. In the meantime, I would still gamble. About 4 months later, and about 2 months before our wedding, I had this dream that God was talking to me. And at this time of the dream, we had our honeymoon paid for already, and it was Heather's suggestion. I had nothing to say about this. She asked if I would mind if we went to Las Vegas for our honeymoon. I was like, do I mind? No. She wanted to go there because of the gondola rides they had. And she said, oh, well, we'll probably never make it to Venice for the real one, so let's go there for our honeymoon. I had absolutely no objection of going. I just wanted to make sure that's really where Heather wanted to go. She was very excited about going. So in my mind, I was thinking, yay, I can go gambling on our honeymoon. Back to the dream about God speaking to me. He said, don't go to Vegas. I was really scared about that. I was talking to Heather about the dream. I was wondering what we should do after having this dream and having our trip paid for. We decided that this was God convicting me. How much time would I have been spending gambling on our honeymoon instead of spending time with my brand new wife? We did go to Las Vegas because our trip was paid for and it was non-refundable, but I did no gambling at all. And since that dream over 14 years ago, I have been gambling free and without any rehab, thanks to God and Heather. I now have a personal relationship with Jesus. I'm a soldier in the Salvation Army, moved across country to work for the Salvation Army, and I have a whole different outlook on money. Instead of throwing money away, I tithe faithfully. And after having seizures my whole life, I am not having a driver's license. As of September 1st, I'm now 6 years seizure-free and have a driver's license. And so I want to let everybody know, don't give up on God, because God never gives up on you. Nothing is impossible with God.